Hello and welcome. I see there are already some people on the call. Hello, everyone. Really nice to see you today. I am Marena Eirich. I'm going to host today a webinar on the 7 benefits for businesses of entrepreneurship for good. So hello, I see some familiar faces there. Hi. Just for your information, so this webinar is going to be recorded and also everyone is muted just to make sure that there's no disturbing noise. So, but at the end, so if you have questions during the presentation, I invite you to share them in the chat. Otherwise, we have a Q&A session at the end. And this call it's gonna last around 30 to 40 minutes maximum. Okay, so you will have time to have quiet lunch afterwards. So I'm just gonna wait for a couple of people still to arrive because we had a little bit of more people inscribed. So I'm just wondering if I have something else to share. So yes, so maybe what I'm gonna share about the positive impact space that I'm gonna present just afterwards. So this is we're actually launching it this week. And we have many more webinars and presentations upcoming. So I'm gonna share with you the agenda in the chat so you can have a look as well. So have a look and join my colleagues on their amazing presentations and webinars on different topics, all around sustainability, purposeful business, responsible business, in leadership, all about, I see Peter here in the call, he's going to share something about how community creates change, and Christian here in the call as well, who's going to talk about upcycling in Lörrach, so a local initiative. Hi everyone. Hi Aga.
Hello. Hi.
I was just mentioning that I muted everyone on entry so that we don't have any interfering noises, but you're very welcome to share your questions in the chat. And also we'll have a Q&A session just after the presentation. Okay, great. So I suggest we get started. So first, a couple of words on the positive impact space. So it's a change maker community. We're all independent entrepreneurs or let's say professionals that operate in sustainability and purposeful business with different backgrounds on academia, but also professional experience in different sectors. And we support and connect organizations on their way towards sustainability. So what do we do really? So we have 3 main, let's say, topics. So we help organizations speed up change through tools, but also consulting. And also a new feature that we just created is a help desk for small and medium-sized companies. So it's like a help desk tool where you type your question around business sustainability and the team will answer them within 48 hours. So this is quite new, and this is a feature also supported by the United Nations Global Compact Network Switzerland, because one of their missions is also to help smaller businesses engage in sustainability. What else do we do? So we help people advance their skills on sustainability and purposeful leadership. We have, let's say, in-person courses, but also online courses, and we're working on certifications as well. And then at the end, so the last thing we also offer is if you are a sustainability professional or expert and want to share your knowledge and your tools, you're welcome to join the platform, of course. Okay, so this is what the positive impact space is about. So this week we're sharing a couple, like let's say our community is sharing their expertise and their what they have to offer, so that people have the possibility to let's say discover all of these possibilities you can have to interact and collaborate with the positive impact space. So just a couple of words on me. So I'm Marena Eirich. I'm the founder of Teams for Purpose and also a CSR and Sustainability consultant and lecturer. At the Positive Impact Space, I am part of the executive committee and marketing lead. And basically what I do is I help companies and their employees add purpose to their jobs by taking action for sustainability in their jobs, because I believe that we can all have an impact. We can all take action, even in our jobs, in our professional lives. Most people do it in their private lives, and for the professional life, it's sometimes not so easy to identify how, but I help the people do that, because the more we are to take action on sustainability and co-creating sustainable and livable future, the better it is. Okay, so that's what I do. That's why I'm going to share today also the benefits for businesses of engaging in intrapreneurship for good. So a couple of first things. So what's entrepreneurship? So entrepreneurship is the act of behaving like an entrepreneur, but within a large organization. So what is interesting is that entrepreneurship, I mean, maybe some of you have been entrepreneurs in their past lives, or in their current lives, if you're already still working in an organization. But what is interesting is that people that are entrepreneurs develop soft skills, such as the ones I listed here. So being open to take risks, for example, because typically in large organizations, risks are not so well seen. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're more open to take risks because you're doing something new. You learn to cope with setbacks and persevere in the face of adversity, because you know that you're working towards something bigger, something greater. So you know, okay, setbacks are part of the path, right? People that are also entrepreneurs do things differently and have a bold vision, and are able to engage others in it. So this is very generic on entrepreneurship, and lots of big companies really like this. Like to engage in this kind of approach, because as we will see in the next slides, it has many benefits. So benefits of entrepreneurship are new products and services. So because by coming up with new ideas and working in a different way, you think out of the box, and then you can move beyond, right, as a business. People are also more satisfied because their voices are heard. They're able to be more themselves and bring about change within their organization. And then all that has a major benefit for the company, creating market share increase. Okay. So if you move forward, because here the idea is to talk about entrepreneurship for good. So what does that mean? So here the idea is that you voice new ideas, new insights, and innovate in the way you work to do good for society. So do good can mean many things. What we understand here in doing good means having a positive impact on others, improving other people's lives, having a positive or reducing your negative environmental or social impact, because oftentimes it's, let's say, to get started, it's easier to reduce the negative impact, and then you can move forward and have even bigger or more positive impact. Okay. Also, being part of a larger movement and kind of have this sense of belonging is also it's included here. And the last but not least, having a purpose beyond creating profits, because in the end, people are more and more are losing the connection with their organization, and then they have like a dilemma between their own personal values and how their business or their employer is operating. So having a purpose, a real purpose beyond just making money and beyond enriching shareholders is really important also. And it's part of this entrepreneurship for good. So if you take action for good, it will give you purpose as well in your job. Okay. So let's have a look at the 7 benefits of taking action for good at work. I thought 7 is quite a lot already to share. And then in the end, I'm going to share how to bring about this change within an organization. So the first benefit identified is profitability. So this is all data that comes from different studies. Okay, it's not something I invented. So the majority of companies with a clearly articulated and understood purpose experience growth of 10%. So this is really important, because it's not just like about philanthropy and making good or something. It's really, it has an impact on the bottom line of the company if people engage for good and add purpose to their jobs. Okay. Second, which is linked to profitability, is the performance. So also people that feel good at work will also produce more quality work. So, and if you produce more quality work, your customers will be more happy and they keep coming back. Okay. So profitability, performance, these are major benefits of entrepreneurship for good. Then engagement, of course, people that are, so the majority of employees are satisfied with their work, when purpose is tied to their motivations. So this is like, purpose is really strong. And as said, purpose is not only just making money, but really doing something positive, giving back to society. Okay, this helps engagement. Then also retention. So if people are motivated and more happy, they will also stay with their employer longer. So this is actually, this purpose at work is a study conducted together with LinkedIn, which is really interesting to read if you want to have a look at that. So 39% of employees are more likely to stay at their company for more than 3 years if they have a purpose in their jobs. And I would say it's even more important for younger generations that are more prone to change more often the employer. Okay, let's have a look. So 5 and 6, so innovation and initiative. The more engaged employees are, and the better they feel about what they do, the more they will innovate, and then the more they will show initiatives in their job, not just like executing what is told. I mean, it's also important to execute at some point, but the idea is that you also bring new ideas, are more innovative, show initiatives. So if your employees are able, are open to in your organization, you let them be heard, their voices be heard, to create initiatives for good, then this will create more innovation and initiatives. Engaged employees perform at a higher level and bring passion and interest to their job, which leads to innovation in the workplace. And then last but not least, it also creates well-being. So having a positive impact for society and the planet enhances well-being. Why? Because you're generous, you give back, and actually studies show that this has a positive impact for the health of people. So the more you're generous, the more you're happy, and this creates health. I mean, this helps your health over time. So obviously for companies, it's interesting as well to have healthy people on board, right? And what is interesting is that, especially in our Western societies, where we are really around, we're very individualistic about our own careers, about our own individual, let's say, objectives. It's really great to have the possibility to give back to society, be part of a larger movement, of like a larger group that gives back to society or preserve the environment or does work in a different way to do all these things, because you're part of like a bigger, something bigger. It's not only you. And that creates also great sense of well-being and happiness. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that, but if you do something good for people, usually you feel really good as well. Yeah, so these are the 7 benefits I wanted to share today. And now I'm going to share how to make that happen, actually, because it looks really great. Yeah, let's have all those benefits for entrepreneurship for good, but how can I implement that if I'm in a big organization? So I'm going to share steps if you are working in a business, okay, and you have employees, how to make that happen. So the first step I always suggest when I meet prospects is to ask, are you actually ready, or is your organization ready for that? Meaning, is the company culture ready to accept hearing the voices of their employees, hearing new ideas, accepting risks, accepting failure as a way to move forward towards success. Okay, so that's the first thing, because oftentimes companies say, yeah, we want to go towards sustainability, but in the end, it's not really such a priority, and the company culture is not open to this type of approach. But so this is the first question to ask: are you ready? So in order to have it, to have like a potential for success of these type of initiatives. Then the second thing I always suggest, and this comes from experience, is that to use active learning to discover sustainability. Because what I've seen is that typically as a consultant, you do lots of work for companies, like having a look at their challenges and what they should what should be done in terms of sustainability, and then you do this great presentation to the staff, and then they forget about it like two days later. So the idea here is that people that participate in this Entrepreneurship for Good programs are actually discovering themselves what sustainability is, what it means for their business, what their competition is doing, and so forth, and what it could mean for their job. Because if you learn by yourself, if you discover something by yourself, then it will stick in your mind, as opposed to just like receiving passive information from outside. Okay, So that's something I really encourage to do. It takes a little bit more time, but it has an enduring benefit. The third thing is to have ideas come about. So spark initiatives from within. So doing collective intelligence workshops to bring employees together to come up with ideas on what could be done differently in their jobs in terms of sustainability and having a positive impact. So here the idea is really to let people come up with their own initiatives, because if they come up with their own initiatives, they will be more motivated to actually implement them, as opposed to having like a consultant create a roadmap and a strategy and then everyone having to just execute it top down, right? So that's the approach really that is suggested here. And also it's I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you come up yourself with ideas anyway. So that's the idea here, to have really spark initiatives with work collective intelligence workshops. Then the idea is that you let your team take action during a specific time, because once you have the ideas, you have to have the time to execute them. Okay, so have a trial, test and trial period to execute those initiatives people thought about or imagined during these workshops, and also keep the momentum. Because what I've also experienced is that it's nice to have some workshops, but then typically people forget, and then the business as usual comes, like your typical work continues, and you totally forget about these like impact for good initiatives you imagined. So what I do is I nudge people and keep the momentum by so that it stays top of mind. Okay. And then the last step is to actually have people come together regularly and share their advancements, share what happened, assess what happened, learn and adapt, so that they can continue on this path towards sustainability within their jobs. So these are the 5 steps I recommend and I've seen work. And other key factors that are important, this is shared by the Entrepreneurship Institute, is that you show that you mean business, in the sense that the idea is here not to come up with like some philanthropic initiative where you just once a year clean a beach or something, but that you really think about how these positive impact initiatives are related to your business, to the jobs of people. So it really has to have an impact in it has to be related to your business, okay? And then also the idea is that you seek out the entrepreneurs that are there. Typically there are profiles of people that want to do things differently, that want to bring their initiatives, that are interested in these type of subjects. So take those people. Make time for innovation and creativity. So take these moments where you bring everyone together in this like safe space to come up with ideas. When initiatives emerge, promote them. So tell the other employees, hey, this is happening. This person is doing that, really to encourage the entrepreneurs, but also to have the others see what is happening and also wanting to engage in this whole process. And then last but not least, it's super important to make failure acceptable, because as any great entrepreneur will tell you, failure is part of the path. So without failures, we don't learn. And it's super important that we embrace failure as part of success. And it's like a present, really, the failures, okay? So that's super important as well, that people are not afraid of failing. So here I have a couple of examples. So this is taken from my own consultant work, but also I took a case from Unilever at the end. So basically what my clients came up, for example, in these type of workshops where they, is that, because what I always encourage to do is not, don't take like a big project that demands a lot of resources. It's really about taking positive impact, sustainability into your job and think, how can I do something different? How can I change my way of working? So for example, this one initiative was to reduce the plastic use and packaging after consumers said that the clients said this was a major thing that they needed because of this would help their recycling efforts. So it would reduce, for my client's client, it would be less expensive to recycle less types of materials, right? So my client, what they did is that they changed their packaging, removed all the plastic and just had like a paper-based packaging, so that their client, for them, it would be easier to recycle in the end. Also, another initiative was to adhere to participate in a local sustainability charter, to use that as a framework really to continue on sustainability. Other initiatives were around looking at alternatives to in the supply chain. So using rail versus road or air shipment, for example, or versus container. Even from Far East, you can use the rail as well instead of the ship. And then here I found like an example from Unilever. So it's like, this is a case shared by the League of Intrapreneurs. So it's a lady, I didn't put her name in there, but she's the entrepreneur that was featured on the website because she is like a doctor and she worked on the Lifebuoy brand where they created this like big public health initiatives. And they engaged the salespeople to see the connection between their sales or their action and saving lives, because especially in certain countries, washing your hands more often can actually save lives because you have still some contagious diseases there. So what was amazing on this initiative is that not only did this initiative help reduce child mortality, but it also helped grow Unilever's business. So this is because of some initiatives. I mean, the Lifebuoy brand is around the subject, but still, this entrepreneur that was featured here created like a whole specific campaign around public health to make that happen. So I'm just looking at the time. Okay, so here I'm going to share what I do. So if this is something that interests you and you would like to go further, so I actually help businesses. I offer Entrepreneurship for Good programs that last between 3 and 9 months to actually help come up with either co-create a sustainability roadmap or if it's already existing, implement that in the different departments and the different, let's say, job functions. And also what I do as well is I have this mastermind program or a coaching program where I coach individual change makers, which is like a much more intense program where we meet every 2 weeks during 6 weeks. And then I help people, not only I share concepts around sustainability and change management, but also I help people actually take action for sustainability in their professional life with concrete steps. So here I share also some benefits. So for the businesses, the results are that, so obviously some awareness and engagement of employees around sustainability, but also the idea is that they, as I shared before, they co-create their own initiatives linked to their either existing sustainability targets or new ones if it doesn't exist yet. Then they have the possibility, so they incubate or they create their own initiatives related to job functions, products, locations, depending on the client. And then results is also that thanks to the ongoing assessment, people are able to learn from their own experience, but also from others' experiences and adapt those learnings and adapt into them and integrate them in the next steps. And then also the idea is to keep the momentum and keep sustainability initiatives, sustainability thinking top of mind. Even if, let's say, the business as usual or the work as usual is like overwhelming, still it stays there. Because the idea here is to, in the long term, to implement this sustainability thinking so that you start doing things differently. I mean, having the same approach as you have in your own home. You know, people, I don't know, you know, if you want to have a more responsible lifestyle, something like that, you start maybe with recycling, or you start buying organic, or you start, I don't know, traveling less with the airplane, or whatever is more suitable for you. And then once you have more or less taken one of these steps, you go to a next one and to the next one. And this is the same here. The philosophy is the same. So you start with one specific initiative in your job, and then by implementing that, you say, okay, this works. And then what else could I do next? So this slowly but surely, this sustainability mindset starts to sink in so that you can implement that in your own job function. So when it comes to the changemaker programs I run, the idea is that people learn. Typically, this is very good for individual like employees that want to do this, or like small business owners that want to implement something around sustainability in their small business. So I share things around the concept of, so they learn about what sustainability is and what it means for a business, and how they can bring about change, and they take real action. And then at the end of the program, they really know what to do moving forward. So it's kind of an empowerment program. Okay. I mean, this is like, these are free resources I share. So you can start already today if you're a business. So I have a 5 steps guide to activate positive impact from within that is free on my website. I will share the links afterwards. And also one for change makers to make their jobs great again.